Howdy folks, Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer. Today we're going to have a gaming vlog. We're going to talk about a little bit about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk a little bit about Pathfinder. We're going to talk a little bit about a new thing called Dungeon Crate. We're going to talk a little bit about Hearthstone and a little bit about Fallout 4. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, to start things off with, I have not done a video in a little while. I took a little bit of a break. I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed is not the right word. I was feeling a little bit overextended, maybe. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. And so I felt like taking a little break, so I did. And along that same line there, I made the decision to quit my regular Pathfinder group that I go to every other Saturday. I have my regular D&D group back here every Friday, and then I was doing the Pathfinder group. I was doing my YouTube channel. I work full-time, and I'm on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the city that I work for. And then I also, on the side, am affiliated with TSR, the new TSR game company. And so I was just feeling a little bit overextended, and I decided that because the Pathfinder group is a little bit of a drive, not a lot, but it is a drive for me to get there. So I thought, well, if there's anything that I can remove myself from, it might be the Pathfinder group. So that's what I did. It doesn't mean later on down the road I can't rejoin or something if there's a slot, but we'll reevaluate and see how things go. So I did that, and we have a regular D&D group going back here. And one of the things for this group here, one of the guys one of our friends in the group, he has purchased one of these, and so I decided to get one. This is it's a Dungeons and Dragons journal, and the reason I got this was, and this is not put out by Wizards of the Coast. This is by a company called Urban Realms, and it's a pretty simple, little item. But I have always struggled with being able to keep up on notes and stuff for the campaign that I'm in. And I thought, well, this is pretty well laid out, and it gives you spots for to draw. It gives you areas with grid paper and things to like this, so that you can, I don't know if that'll show, yeah, so you can draw out how the encounter went, or if you're in the middle of an encounter or whatever, and it gives you places to do sketches and things like that. And I thought, well, this just might help me be a little bit better about keeping notes, because I do like to keep an adventurer's journal, for lack of a better term, for my D&D games. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I'd be interested to know if you guys do other things. Do you guys record your sessions? Because recording would take an awful lot of hard drive space. People say, have you thought about streaming and all that? And I haven't really thought too much about the streaming thing, but because I don't know how the other members of the group would feel about it. And the recording thing would take up a lot of, you're talking, when you're talking like 5 hours of gameplay, that's going to take up a lot of hard drive space. So I'd be interested to know what you guys do for, chronicling your gaming sessions. One of the things I want to talk about was there's a new subscription service called Dungeon Crate. And Dungeon Crate is going to be, it appears, because no one's gotten one yet, it's going to be one of these, it's kind of like Loot Crate and Smuggler's Bounty and all that. It's going to be one of those subscription box services where you get a box of stuff, random stuff, that you have no idea. It's a mystery box type of a deal. But it's all going to be role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game, related stuff. So, from the video, they do have a video on YouTube. You can Google Dungeon Crate and find it for yourself. It looks fairly interesting. So I went ahead and subscribed because I want to get the first one, see how it is. Kind of like I did with Smuggler's Bounty. I'm probably done with Smuggler's Bounty. And this sounds like it's more right up my alley with the role-playing game stuff. So I'm excited to see what's going to be in the first one. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, and you may want to check it out for yourself. So there's all that. Fallout 4. I wanted to talk a little bit about this because, as we know, Fallout 4 came out in November, and right off, from the get-go, they're selling season pass with, season passes. And for anybody that doesn't know what that means, is it basically is you pay up front, so you buy the game, you spend the money for the game, and then in addition, you're basically paying up front if you buy the season pass for the DLC, the downloadable content that's going to come after the fact. And so they were taking, people's money for, $30 for season pass for any DLC that is to come. Now, and this is nothing new. A lot of other games do this. A lot of the game companies do this. It's becoming quite the norm. But my question to you is, here we are in February, and they initially said that the first DLC would be released early 2016. Now, of course, that's an ambiguous term when they say early. To some people, early means January, February. Other people, they could say, well, it means January, February, March, April, May. They can consider all that early. So that's very vague. And the problem I'm having is they still have not announced the first DLC. We're into February, and they haven't even announced when the first DLC is going to. They still haven't made an announcement yet. We don't have any idea what it's going to be. Now, I did not purchase the season pass. I never purchased them for this exact reason. It's kind of a gamble. You don't know what's. Now, they've had a good track record with Skyrim and stuff like that of putting out their DLC and so forth. And I'm sure they're going to be doing that. But I have no problem waiting until they make an announcement and then buying the season pass once I know what I'm going to get. But they sold a lot of season passes. It's been a very popular game. So my question to all of you out there, if you want to chime in, is how does that make you feel? How do you feel about season passes where there's no announcements? They don't even give you a timeline of when to expect DLC for your money. And do you purchase them blindly? Do you just purchase the DLC or purchase the season pass with no idea of how long it's going to be till you get some DLC? Or I'm just curious as to how everybody feels about that. My opinion is I will wait until they make an announcement before I even decide to buy it. And I love Fallout 4. Everybody knows I've got almost 300 hours logged on that game. It was my game of the year, but they're not going to get my money until I have an idea of when I will get something for my money. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was Hearthstone by Blizzard. And this, for anybody that doesn't know, Hearthstone is a computer trading card game. It's very popular. It's very competitive. It's considered one of the esport titles. You have League of Legends, Dota 2, and you have Hearthstone. You have other titles that are in the esports thing, which ESPN now covers esports. If you go to ESPN.com, you will actually see an esports tab that you can go and see news and announcements and all that stuff. So Hearthstone, the Blizzard, the people that make it, have announced that there's big changes coming to Hearthstone. And one of the things they're going to do is they're going to retire a bunch of cards from the game, which means they're going to disappear. I have a serious problem with this. That is content people have paid for. Some people probably really like certain cards because they do a certain thing in the game. They give you a certain effect, certain buff, a certain attack, whatever. I have a problem with any time, especially when we're talking about digital content that people pay for. I have a real problem with companies just deciding they're going to remove content from the game. Now, this goes back to games like MMOs. massive multiplayer online role-playing games, where it has been very common for them to decide we're just going to yank that content out. For whatever reason. EverQuest 2, there was a very controversial event where a few years ago where EverQuest 2, the makers of EverQuest 2 at that time was Sony Online Entertainment. They went in and decided all of the beginning quests in all the beginning areas for EverQuest 2, they didn't like the quests anymore for whatever reason, and they removed a shit ton of quests. And it pissed off a lot of people. Because a lot of people, when they would decide, hey, you know what, I feel a little bit stale, I'm going to roll a new character. They would roll a new character, and it would be kind of like, it was, kind of reminiscent for them to do these old quests that they had done a long time ago. It felt good to them to go and see these quests again. It kind of felt, comfortable, like an old friend or whatever. That, oh, I remember this quest. I love this quest. They couldn't do that anymore. Those quests were gone, never to be seen again. So I have with World of Warcraft. There's another one. World of Warcraft had Cataclysm, where they changed the entire game itself. They changed the landscape. They had a cataclysmic event, and so forth and so on. And it changed the game, changed the topography, changed the geography, changed everything. Some people loved it. A lot of people didn't like it. My opinion is they should have, at that time when they did that, they should have created some servers that retained the things the way they were. For subscribers who are still paying, this is not a free MMO. World of Warcraft, everybody has to pay. With the exception, I think up to level 20 is free, but after level 20, you got to pay. So they should have kept servers that had the original content. And if there were people that said, you know what, I don't want things to change, and for my $15 a month, I would really love a server to be able to play, with the way the things were. I think that would have been a smart move for them. I think it would have been the right thing to do. I think they would have retained a lot of players that wanted to keep things the way they were. They would have even if it was just one server. That's my opinion. So for me, it's a theme. I don't like content going away, especially when it's digital and you pay for it. You don't have anything to hold on to anyway with your hand. It's all digital. Them retiring these cards and so forth in Hearthstone. Why? Why not add cards? They're always adding cards, but why retire cards? I don't get that. So that's just one guy's opinion. Anyway, that's enough of me yabbering on. All these topics I talked about, I'd love to see you guys' comments below, and we'll catch you on the flip side.